It's Friday, March 6, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Noted political scientist Peter Wickham is urging CARICOM Chairman Prime Minister Mia Mottley to speak out on the lack of transparency in the Guyana election. In fact, he fears that unless CARICOM takes steps to diffuse escalating tension in the country, violence is almost inevitable. Political parties are at odds on the outcome of Monday's poll after the Guyana Electoral Commission did not stick to the verification process with respect to the counting of ballots in Region 4. Wickham noted that with Guyana poised to cash in on its major oil finds, it was unlikely that either party would be willing to relent in their quest for power. He, however, suggested that political instability could put a wet blanket on those oil prospects, since international agencies would be unwilling to negotiate with a government whose legitimacy is in question. In other news, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George today disclosed that a patient who turned up at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital yesterday was tested for the coronavirus. The test was negative.
Yesterday, there was a potential patient who interacted with the emergency room, and I was convinced that the necessary precautions were taken. It was handled in a way that was highly professional. The testing was done. The tests were negative, and the patient was discharged.
This was a patient coming in, or a
Yes.
patient already on island?
Yes.
So who would have sent him to the hospital, him or her to the hospital?
I think the
Through
person
airport,
self-presented to the hospital.
Okay.
So the person instituted that. So it's not ideal for persons to come to the hospital, but they have a way of dealing and containing that situation.
Meanwhile, the QEH will welcome new nurses this month, and according to Executive Chairman Juliet Bino-Sutherland, this will help the hospital to improve the delivery of health care.
During this month, we will see 63 nurses arriving from Ghana, and another 29 have been hired. Barbadian nurses have been hired between the start of 2019 and present, including 16 who have applied to us from the Barbados Community College. And we are very appreciative of the Ministry of Education and the Barbados Community College for being able to address the challenge that they were faced with getting nurses to pass the examination, and were able to take most of the nurses who have applied to us in that program.
68 former workers of British American Insurance are in line to receive their pensions. Parliament today passed a bill approving the funds to make the payout.
To provide those 6 bonds structured to deliver the $8.115 million with respect to being able now to pay those persons, those 68 persons, those pensioners are members of the British American Pension Plan.
Ahead of celebrations to mark International Women's Day, President of the Soroptimist International Barbados, Lisa Toppin-Corbin, today called on the police and the justice system to treat the cases of domestic violence more seriously. Corbin and a few colleagues took to the outside of the Supreme Court today as part of a 2-day silent call for justice for women.
Well, from our perspective, we would like to see women being believed, for the most part, being believed, being interviewed properly from the process of policemen, police officers, from the judiciary. We find that they're not holding perpetrators of domestic violence or sexual violence accountable. We've had some recent incidences of alleged perpetrators being given slaps on the wrists back in January and February, and we thought that it would be a great initiative to come out here and demonstrate that enough is enough, and we need to all play up some part in demonstrating or calling for action from the judiciary and the Royal Barbados Police Force for them to work towards making sure that this matter is dealt with.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
To regional news now in Guyana, Protests were launched this morning along the East Coast Demerara against what protesters said was the rigging of Monday's general elections.
Well, these people here are very much dissatisfied with the process so far. We'll continue to follow happenings here at Lusiknan. As we can see, the background, the road has been blocked off by, seems to be a wooden post, and that is right across the road on this is the southern end of the public road at Lusiknan. There is a heightened police presence as well here at Lusiknan to ensure that there's some order. They haven't been able to totally control this crowd. A lot of vehicles traversing the public road have had to turn back and head back to the western end or across to the railway embankment. They're basically calling here for transparency with regards to the 2020 regional and general elections, which was held on March 2.
On the international front, the number of people infected with the new coronavirus surpassed 100,000 across the world today as the outbreak reached more countries. We get more in this report from Reuters Television.
We are continuing to recommend that all countries make containment their highest priority.
As the number of confirmed coronavirus cases globally continues to rise, the World Health Organization on Friday urged governments around the world to unleash their full power to contain the outbreak of COVID-19.
We continue to call on countries to find, test, isolate, and care for every case and to trace every contact.
The United Nations agency stressed that fighting the epidemic requires countries to work together. This as the number of cases worldwide topped 100,000 according to a Reuters tally. Amid signs that countries are struggling to get the outbreak under control. Death tolls have passed 3,400, most of those in China, where the outbreak began. But the epidemic is now spreading faster elsewhere. South Korea reported 505 new cases Friday, bringing its total number of cases to more than 6,500. Also hit hard, Iran. Its death toll jumped on Friday to 124, and more than 1,000 new cases were diagnosed over 24 hours. In the U.S., there are over 230 cases, but that number is expected to rise as testing becomes more widely available.
As Secretary Azar made very clear, and other health professionals have made clear, we are ramping up production so that they will have more tests.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.